Hello guys, and welcome back to the road to 1600. I'm starting off today at 788, and today's game had a first-hand brain lapse. I spent some time practicing the Caro Kann against the computer, and then I see a King's Pawn opening in my first game online today, and I just forgot what happened. I fought as well as I could, but the mate that happened in the end, I really wasn't expecting. But if this is your first time finding the channel, feel free to subscribe as we continue to grow, and let's jump into the game review. Alright, let's get started with the game review. So, I am searching for an opponent right now. I'm starting off at 788, and we are playing a 790 from Portugal, starting off as black. And before I jump into this relatively quick game review, I was practicing a little bit beforehand, and I was playing as black, and I was practicing my Caro Kann, trying to take control of that center, and then trying to get a good base set up, like a reverse London a little bit, against the King Pawn. And so, immediately, I faced the King Pawn, and so what do? Not that. I was practicing the Caro Kann and against the bots, and I don't know what happened, I just immediately forgot it. So, put my King Pawn, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, let's reverse London a little bit here. Let's try to build the pyramid. Let's try to get the bishop out. If I'm going to be putting my pyramid on the dark squares, let's get the dark squared bishop out, because I don't want him trapped in there. So he brings the queen out, and I've faced this a couple times, and playing as black, I think I'm more willing to offer a queen trade early on to try to fluctuate with the game, or try to just get into his head a little bit and kind of get out of rhythm. But I am seeing he's looking at that f7 pawn right there, so I'm thinking, alright, I'll offer the trade. I can take his bishop with my king if he does end up moving to f2. So not really sure. I think he was trying to move his knight up to g5 to try to put some more pressure on that f7 space. So I just take this opportunity to start building my pyramid. I want to get some more pieces developed. I've fallen into that trap a couple times in the past where I had only worked on my pawn, or I had moved my queen too much at one time. And he castles. And at this point, I'm kind of looking at those diagonals, because I do have my light squared bishop with a clean sight to his knight, and I do have my dark squared bishop looking at f2, and I have my queen out, and so I'm kind of looking, okay, I am kind of playing defense here. There hasn't been any takes or shifts in the board, but I have an opportunity to try to get a nice little attack in here. So that's where my head is at, and I was playing on the board a little bit in the bottom right if you saw that, and I'm thinking if I can get my my A pawn up to a6, and then my B pawn up to b5, I can push his bishop out, but that also opens up my light squared bishop to try to attack that g2 square as well. And that was kind of my goal. Maybe I would slide my queen over one to the left, and then attack that that g2 square right in front of his king. So I move my pawn up. He puts some pressure on my bishop. I figured, all right, why don't I just put some pressure on his, and we can trade bishops if that's the case. He brings over another bishop. I slide over to the left because this is what I wanted to do anyway, and we still got that pressure on their bishop. Well, I still have pressure on my bishop. And his pieces are very active right now. I'll give him credit. He's only got 3 on the back rank. I've got 5. So his pieces are very active right now. We take. I'm started to start taking outside in, especially on the H and A files, because then I can open my rook up. So I kind of wanted him to do that, and I knew that I was going to take with that pawn. But what's interesting, and what we should probably keep an eye on, is that dark squared bishop hasn't really been unseated. I probably should have moved my f pawn up one and maybe sacrifice my knight, hindsight being 20/20, just to get that bishop out of there, because he's kind of sniping into my house a little bit, and I need to get him out of there. So progress a little bit. I should have taken his bishop. I don't know what I was thinking there. I should have taken the bishop. but he elects to reinforce the bishop. And so I said, oh, okay, I guess I'll take a free bishop. And I didn't see it. I did not see the plan as it stands right now. I was still looking at my light squared bishop. I was looking at my really weird pawn structure in the center. I don't have any pieces developed. I got a double pawn over on the left. It was just very unnatural. This isn't how I'm used to playing. You know, I like having my active bishops kind of patrolling, and I don't have any of that right now. So he slides up and takes, and I'm thinking, all right, let me just put some pressure on his rook, and then once his rook moves, then I can start maybe looking at his knight with my light squared bishop, or if I can start, you know, attacking the other side of the board a little bit. And then, so yeah, I just move up, try to take his rook, and honest to God, I thought he resigned. I thought he quit. I thought he had to go, you know, change the laundry or something, and he left. And I was like, wow, he was doing pretty good. I don't know why he left. And then I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, I just got mated. I did not see that at all. And that's a great mate. My rooks and my knights haven't moved. I left everything wide open. That bishop was sitting there the whole time. It was 13 moves. I wouldn't be surprised if he was kind of looking in the mirror saying, how did that just happen? But this is part of the progress, or part of the journey. You know, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. I think in the last video I had a nice little checkmate there. But it's just part of growth, and I think, you know, going forward, I'm going to have to pay attention to that. I'm going to have to kick out that bishop, and I'm going to actually have to play the game I meant to play. I meant to try to play a Caro Kann, and I tried to build a little pyramid and get my bishops out, and I had a plan. I just, for some reason, just didn't stick to the plan. So that's the biggest lesson out of this game, is stick to the plan. All right, anyway, we'll wrap up. Thank you if you made it this far. I appreciate it. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Thanks.